The walls are listening. This is the room before, where nothing starts and nothing ends. This is the room before, where I keep reaching for your hands. The window fogs with both our breath, two shapes dissolving into it. I trace a word across the glass, but wipe it clean before you ask. This is the room before, Your shoulder brushed my collarbone. A continent of skin and bone. I catalog the warmth. Found it somewhere near my pulse. Halfway hello, halfway gone. We keep meeting on the lawn between your door and mine. Halfway hello, every time. If I said the rest of it, would the fog between us lift? Or would the walls just shift and leave us standing in the drift? Almost touched you in the kitchen light. Almost said the thing that burns at night. Your spine curved toward the counter edge. My fingers stopped an inch from pledge. We're fluent in the almost touch. Professors of the not quite much. Almost is a country where we've built our little house. Almost is a country where we never have to choose. We live in almost, darling. It's the sweetest kind of bruise. Almost texted at the second glance. Almost asked you what you meant by last. Frost outside drew ferns on glass, like blueprints of the rooms we'd passed. Almost is a country where we built our little house. Almost is a country where we never have to choose. We live in almost, darling. It's the sweetest kind kind of bruise, but bruises fade to yellow, into nothing, into skin. And I don't wanna wake up in the country of has been. Staring at my mouth again. Third time this week I keep the count. The stairs between our floors feel shorter now. The wind keeps pushing me without a sound. Something's cracking in the walls. Something's humming in the halls. Close to the edge of almost, closer to the thing we can't take back. Closer to the edge of almost, every step a matter. between your shoulder and my hair. I measure it in breeze, in almost leaning in and yet hey, still. Stay still. The space between our shoulders holds a room we'll never enter. The space between our shoulders is the only honest answer. Your warmth crosses the gap like fog. My skin knows you before my thoughts. We sit on separate stairs, connected by the cold we share. The space between our shoulders holds a room we'll never enter. The space between our shoulders is the only honest answer. Wind through the window, carrying something unnamed. Wind through the window, almost warm enough to claim. The space between our shoulders grows thinner every winter. The space between our shoulders is where I keep my splinter. Stay still. carry wet days. Let this morning be enough. Let this morning be enough.
The night I did
remembers your shape in the chair, a dent in the cushion, a thread of your hair. I sit across from the space you were and watch the dust fall without a stir. Quiet room, quiet room. In quiet rooms, the almost echoes loudest. In quiet rooms, your absence wears a crown. I fill the silence with the sound of doors that never open. The rain stopped hours ago, maybe days. Time bends in rooms where nobody stays. My pulse is the only proof of now. A clock without a second hand somehow. In quiet rooms, the almost echoes loudest. In quiet rooms, your absence wears a crown. moves at a different pace, and I can almost feel my face. between us. A thing. We talk about the weather like it's scripture. Debate the menu like it's parliament. Your knee finds mine beneath the table, and we both pretend it's accidental. Round and round, the elephant is grinning. We keep dancing around it, like the floor might crack and swallow. We keep dancing around it, spinning circles, never narrow. One step forward, two steps sideways into shadow. You pour my drink before I ask. I know your order, know your laugh. We memorized each other's maps, but still won't name the roads we're on. We keep dancing around it, like the floor might crack and swallow. We keep dancing around it, spinning circles, never narrow. One step forward, two steps sideways into shadow. What if we stopped? What if the music just? What if we stopped and stood still in the dust? Would the room survive? Would we? Sunlight on the stairs, sunlight on the space between that I no longer fear.
A country I once visited that's visible from the moon. almost clear. The room after, the room before, the room. Carry the ghost of a touch on my wrist, where your fingers rested and almost persisted. A warmth with no source, like a room with no walls, like sunlight remembered in long empty halls. Some things are more real for never being named, and I have learned to hold what never had a frame. On bones that almost knew you. The door between us grew transparent with time. I could see you through it, but never crossed the line.